Hi, it's Rachael here from off.road.cc, and today I'll be talking to you about my latest review of the Shand Shug. It's a 130mm steel hardtail from the Scottish bike brand Shand. So back in June last year, Trillian produced a 130mm 29er hardtail that was called the Shug. It's the same bike we have here, but this bike is now being produced in Shand livery and becoming the Shand Shug. We spoke to Fraser from Shand, who told us that this bike originally started life as an extreme hardtail he had his heart set on building. After about a year of toying with the idea and altering the geometry slightly to make a really good all-round hardtail, the bike came to fruition as Fraser's Hulot. The Shug is that very same bike, refined for the customer, but with its roots firmly in a prototype designed by Shand staff. So, for the review, first off, the frame is a thing of absolute beauty. It's made from Reynolds 853 front triangle with a mix of custom Italian tubing at the rear. It's strikingly simple, and I love the clean lines of the Shug. The welds are superbly neat, and the hooded dropouts are perfectly formed. The cable routing for the rear brake and the mech follow the underside of the top tube out of harm's way, whilst the dropper post runs down inside the frame from the down tube and disappears into the bottom of the seat tube. Built to accommodate both 29 by 2.6 inch tyres or 27.5 by 3 inch tyres, our bike has the latter. It has a 2.8 inch Magic Mary up front and a 2.8 inch knobby nick at the rear. I'm not a huge fan of 2.8 inch tyres. I find them to be a bit unpredictable, give unpredictable damping qualities, and they can lack grip in really slimy, muddy conditions. I can, however, see how they might be well placed on a hardtail such as this. The larger volume dispels more vibrations, but as an offset of this, they also squirm somewhat, which leads to a less than confidence-inspiring feel. Given the comfort factor that is provided with a quality steel frame such as this, I'd be tempted to run the 29er setup and downsize to 2.5 or 2.6 inch tyres on slightly narrower 29 or 27.5 inch rims. The Shug gets aggressive geometry. There's a 64-degree head angle and a 75-degree effective seat tube angle. The seat tube is nice and short too, at 430mm on a medium as we tested, and the straight seat tube allows for plenty of insertion room for longer dropper posts. Chainstays are a good 435mm long, which is an ideal length for this medium-sized bike, but taller riders might want longer ones. As the reach increases and the wheelbase increases, it will help the bike to stay better balanced. The reach on this medium bike comes in at 445mm, which is not super long, but roomy enough, and I felt right at home. All these numbers add up to a wheelbase of 1209mm. But remember, if something here doesn't quite take your fancy, then the guys at Shand can alter it for you. All the bikes are made to order, so you'll just need to chat to them about your requirements and your ideal geometry, and they'll do the rest. The Shug is a full-on trail shredder, says Shand. It's a bike that, despite the short travel, is built for taking on more serious terrain. It's happy to take on the steeps as well as the more flowing trails, and I did a fair amount of both, and I agree with them. This is indeed a shredder of a bike. After my first ride, I realised that the 100mm head tube, when paired with the flat bars that had been supplied, was a tad low for me. So I swapped the bars out for one with a 20mm rise and adjusted the spacers on the steer tube so that they were all below the stem. This allowed me to weight the front of the bike more efficiently, and I felt a little less pitched forwards over steeper descents. The Shug is a fairly efficient climber. The large tyre volume provides plenty of grip on the uphills and diminishes any rumble from the terrain. It's a comfy place to sit and winch out the climb, and at 2.25 kilograms, that's for the frame only, it's not heavy either. Thrashing the Shug on the trails is immensely fun. It's a well-balanced bike that provides plenty of feedback without the harsh ride that you might get from an alloy frame. The steel frame takes that edge out of the rattle associated with hardtails, and by no means does it coddle you like a full susser. You still have to pay attention to riding smoothly, but the Shug frame does go somewhat to dissipate unwanted trail chatter and maximises grip. The reach and slack head angle are confidence-inspiring on the trail, and the bike is begging to be ridden down your steep local trails where it's easy to push harder and harder. At 64 degrees, the head angle is slack, even by hardcore hardtail sanders. At sag, the head angle will be steeper though, and it only steepens as you use the travel. That just shows that the Shug is well prepped for riding more aggressive terrain. The cost of the frame at £995 is not cheap by any means, and the cost of customising the geometry also comes in an extra £200. But my guess is that if you're looking at buying a Shug, you'll be looking at buying your perfect bike to last a lifetime. And for a lifetime's worth of use, £995 or £1595 with a Cane Creek helm fork, it really doesn't seem that bad. It's certainly no more than other quality custom frame manufacturers will charge. So a BTR Ranger frame will set you back £1,000 and a Swarf Cycle spline will cost £10-20. If I had nearly £1,000 to drop on a hardtail frame, then I'd certainly look Shand's way. The frame is beautifully detailed, it's a pleasure to ride and not to mention a hoot. It's an extremely capable bike that belies its 130 mils worth of travel. It shows that you don't need more travel to smash up and down the trails when the geometry like this gives you the confidence by the bucket load. So it's fair to say I enjoyed the Shug. If you want to read the full review, head over to off.road.cc now, and thanks so much for watching.